She stood at the edge of the quiet ranch yard, dust swirling around her worn shoes, eyes red from nights spent crying, a small duffel bag hanging from her shoulder like the last piece of a life she was trying to outrun. And when she finally found the courage to speak, her voice broke like fragile glass as she whispered, "I have nothing to offer." But the cowboy, tall and calm as the morning sun rising over the endless pastures, stepped closer with the kind of steady presence that made the world slow down, and he answered, with warmth instead of pity, "You have yourself." And that was the moment her life began to shift, though she didn't know it yet, for she had come from a storm of betrayal, driven out by people who said she was worthless, people who had drained her spirit until she believed the lies they repeated, and she had walked for miles through cold wind and lonely roads until she collapsed outside his cabin door, and he, a stranger with kindness in his bones, had brought her inside, wrapped her in a warm blanket, and let her sleep safely for the first time in months. Now, standing beneath the open sky, she felt the weight of years pressing down on her, but the cowboy's steady look seemed to lift some invisible burden off her shoulders, and he told her that surviving was its own proof of strength, that scars were not signs of weakness but maps of everything she conquered. And as they walked across the ranch, he taught her how the land healed people if they let it, how the sound of wind through tall grass reminded you that life keeps moving, how the horses sensed fear but also understood gentle hands, how the early morning silence could quiet the loudest doubts echoing inside a wounded heart. And day by day she learned to breathe again, learned to speak without shaking, learned to look at her reflection and not immediately turn away. The cowboy never pushed, never questioned the past she was not ready to reveal, choosing instead to show her that trust was something earned slowly, like the patience it took to train a skittish colt, and she found herself laughing for the first time in months, found herself enjoying the simple rhythm of days filled with chores, sunsets, and conversations by the fire. But the shadow of her past lingered, and one evening she confessed to him everything, the betrayals, the loneliness, the people who convinced her she was a burden, and when she broke down crying, expecting him to step back or reconsider the kindness he had shown, he did neither. He cupped her face gently, wiped her tears with calloused thumbs, and told her that the world had been cruel to her because it feared her softness, her loyalty, her quiet resilience, and he said she didn't need money, status, or gifts to be worthy of love or belonging because what she offered, her heart, her presence, her courage, was more valuable than anything else. And though she struggled to believe him, something in his voice settled inside her like an anchor. In the days that followed, she began helping with more tasks around the ranch, learning how to repair fences, groom horses, harvest vegetables, saddle up at dawn, and with every new skill she gained, she felt pieces of herself returning, pieces long buried under years of emotional wounds. The cowboy watched her with a subtle admiration, noticing how she treated every animal with tenderness, how she brought a softness the ranch had been missing, how she found beauty even in the smallest things, the wildflowers near the creek, the way baby horses stumbled while learning to walk, the way sunset lit her face with colors she didn't know she deserved, and gradually he realized he wasn't just helping her heal, he was beginning to fall for her in ways he hadn't fallen for anyone in years, but he didn't say it. Not wanting to overwhelm her, not wanting to burden her with expectations she wasn't ready to carry. She sensed it though, in the quiet glances, in the way he always walked a little slower to match her pace, in the way he brewed her tea exactly how she liked it even though she never asked. And it terrified her because love had betrayed her before. Love had left scars she was still learning to close. But this love, if she could even call it that, felt different, not rushed, not demanded, simply offered like a warm hand extended toward someone freezing in the dark. One afternoon, a sudden storm flooded the lower fields, and she panicked when she saw the rising water because it reminded her of nights when chaos ruled her home. But the cowboy grabbed her hand, his grip firm, and guided her through the storm, telling her she wasn't alone anymore, and something in her finally broke open, not in pain, but in release, and she held onto him, burying her face against his chest as rain soaked them both, the thunder echoing overhead as if the sky itself was applauding her courage to trust again. Later, when they sat near the fire wrapped in blankets, he told her that storms come and go but they always reveal something, whether it is the strength of a structure or the strength of a soul, and she realized then that her soul was stronger than she ever imagined. Seasons passed and she blossomed into someone confident, brave, and unrecognizable from the trembling girl who once whispered she had nothing to offer. And one evening, as golden light spilled over the valley, she looked at the cowboy and whispered, "Why did you help me?" And he smiled, brushing a strand of hair from her face, replying, "Because you deserved a chance to see the person I saw from the start." And when tears filled her eyes again, they weren't from sorrow but from the overwhelming grace of being seen, truly seen, for the first time. And as the wind danced across the fields and the horses grazed peacefully nearby, she leaned her head on his shoulder, finally believing she had something to offer. Not wealth, not perfection, but something far more precious. Herself, her heart, her healing, her presence, her journey, and the cowboy knew that was the greatest gift of all. So, to everyone listening to this story, if you believe you have nothing to offer, remember this: your soul, your resilience, your existence is already enough. And if you enjoyed this story, make sure to subscribe to the channel, because more powerful stories like this are coming your way. Stories that remind you of your worth, your strength, and your place in this world.